the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana Fever. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this game is because, one, if you don't know, the Indiana Fever beat the Phoenix Mercury 88-82. And to me, this game, in my opinion, definitely took Christy Side's head off the chopping block. Okay, that's what I would say, because I thought the game plan that the Indiana Fever made, and the timely timeouts really did help this team get the victory. Okay, so let's kind of talk about it. Okay, so the game starts and Phoenix is on it. Phoenix has you know, their foot on the gas. They're doing well. We see Brittany Griner get touches early. You know, we saw Kalia Copper hit a crazy 3-point shot. You know, we saw this Phoenix Mercury team look like the normal Phoenix Mercury team, and they look pretty fantastic. They got off to a 17-4 run to start off the first quarter. They looked very, very good, and then it was 14-2. The Indiana Fever called a timeout, and then it was sort of like, it felt like a reset of sorts. Chrissy Sides took a timeout, whatever they discussed, and we saw the Fever start making some changes. They started scoring bucket after bucket after bucket, and then by the time we reached the end of the first quarter, it's not looking that bad. You know, instead of losing, 17-4, now it's 26-20. 6-point game at the end of the first quarter, and I thought it was pretty nice. So I'm going to talk about the Mercury and what they did well, and then we're going to talk about Phoenix and like how I thought that they kind of messed up in this game, I should say. All right, so again, we see this Indiana Fever team call a timeout, start making their way back. It was spurred on also by the fact that this Phoenix Mercury team just couldn't really hit shots. We saw, if you watch the Phoenix Mercury, you know that Kalia Copper is their main scorer. She scores a whole lot of points every single game, and she was off last night. Absolutely, positively off last night. And that was a huge issue for this Phoenix Mercury team. And the Indiana Fever took advantage of it. They absolutely took advantage of it. One of the things we also saw in this game was that there was a lot of fouls. There was a whole lot of foul calls in this game. And you know, we saw BG actually get to the line quite a bit in this game. She got to the line 5 times, made 8 out of 10 on her free throw. But so yes, fouling was a thing, but I felt like it was pretty bad on both sides. But yeah, Brittany Griner, you know, she was fouled at times, and she got the foul call every single time. Did the refs call a perfect game? No, but overall, I would say this was a really good game for the referees. I didn't see anything too egregious in terms of it benefiting one team and not the other. So that was the first quarter, 26-20. We go into the second quarter, and Phoenix kind of ensured that they get back the lead. So we see the second quarter start. This Indiana Fever team is roaring. You know, we see Timmy Fagbenle get in the game, make a bucket. It was a particular speed to start the second quarter. It was a sequence where the Phoenix Mercury get a turnover. Caitlin Clark, court vision, has her eyes up, finds Aaliyah Boston, gets the score, and Phoenix come down again. They miss the shot. Caitlin comes down, passes the dart to Timmy Fagbenle, makes the bucket, and it's a 2-point game, 24-26. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. We see the Indiana Fever kind of getting into this game and really and really, really making this game. And we see that this fever team, they were making some runs. Phoenix, they ended up coming back. Brittany Griner, or Dinah Taurasi, Shug Sutton scoring some buckets. It's sort of like a back and forth battle between the Fever and the Phoenix Mercury. And then we sort of head to the end of the quarter, where once again the Phoenix Mercury end up extending kind of a lead in there, and they come into the halftime with a score of 49-38. Now, here's some of the things that I noticed about the Phoenix Mercury that is not that different to what they normally do, but I think a lot of people were seeing it for the first time. One is we saw Natasha Cloud, who is the point guard for this Phoenix Mercury team. We saw her playing a 5 or a 4 on defense. There were a lot of times in this game where she was guarding Aaliyah Boston and guarding Nalissa Smith. And if you're wondering, like, hey, why in the world was a point guard guarding a post player? Well, the reason why is because it's the way that the Phoenix Mercury play defense. They literally switch. They switching on everything. And when it comes to the Indiana Fever, we see a lot of screens where Aaliyah Boston gives a screen to Caitlin Clark, and then she rolls. And you don't want to put Brittany Griner kind of in that situation, because Griner's going to get in foul trouble real hard. So what you do is you put Natasha Cloud. You put Natasha Cloud, against the 4 or the 5. That way, Brittany Griner can kind of stay out of foul trouble a little bit, not have to guard the most active post player on the other team, and it works out. Like this is a thing that the Phoenix Mercury have been doing for a while now. This is not the first game that they've been doing it. So, for those people who are shocked, I just want to let you know that this is not out of the ordinary for the Indiana Fever. It's not. They've been doing it for a while, and the reason why is because, for the most part, Natasha Cloud is really, really good at moving her feet and really good at guarding larger players, and that's what she did yesterday. That is absolutely what she did yesterday, and I just wanted to sort of let you all know who were confused about that yesterday. That's why the whole purpose for the Phoenix Mercury doing that is to keep Brittany Griner from getting in foul trouble. That's the purpose. When you look at the Phoenix Mercury versus any team in the WNBA, they usually do this. All right, they usually do this. When you see, you don't really see Brittany Griner on the best post of the opposite team very often. You're not really going to see it, or the most active post, I should say. And the reason why is because if she does, Brittany Griner is going to get in foul trouble, and she's going to be on the bench. So Nate Tibbetts was like, you know what? Let's put Tosh Cloud on the post player, or sometimes you see Sophie Cunningham on a post player. There were times where I believe we were in the game. I believe that was the third or the fourth quarter, where Brittany Griner was out, and we saw Sophie Cunningham and Natasha Cloud on both Aaliyah Boston and Nalissa Smith. And that's something that Nate Tibbetts does. Like it's not a bad strategy, because a lot of times it does work for the Phoenix Mercury. It's not a bad strategy at all, even though they do end up with the loss. So again, we go into halftime with the Phoenix Mercury having a pretty sizable lead on the Indiana Fever, and we go into the third quarter. And guys, there was a huge difference between the first half and the second half in this game. There was a gigantic difference, because we saw this Indiana Fever team pick up the pace. They were picking up the pace in transition scoring. They were picking up the pace in terms of Caitlin finding the open man and them making the shot once they got it. And we saw better defense by the Indiana Fever. It was a mix of better defense and also a mix of this Phoenix Mercury team just not hitting the shots they needed to hit. Like, there were a lot of missed shots by players, and I'm just like, man, like, what's going on? Y'all are off today. Y'all are absolutely off. But there's one particular play that I thought was the game changer, the real game changer in this game. It was actually, it was kind of two that happened in the third quarter. So, and also, guys, we're gonna get into like the flagrant fouls and technicals and all that stuff in just a hot second, okay? I do just want to get through the meat and potatoes of the game, and then we're gonna move on to that as well. All right, so we head into the third quarter. It's looking pretty tight. Where initially the Phoenix Mercury had the lead, we saw Indiana kind of claw their way back, but there was a swing. There was a momentum swing that happened in this game. It was around like the 5-minute mark. We see Caitlin Clark pull up, get a logo 3. All right. Beck Allen for the Fever, she makes a bucket. It goes back to the Indiana Fever, and Caitlin Clark, great pass to Chrissy Wallace, bucket. All right. Phoenix is discombobulated. The score at that time was 50, Indiana 55, Phoenix Mercury, and it kind of felt like that was sort of the momentum changer. All right. Even though Nate Tibbetts calls a timeout, it doesn't do anything because the Phoenix Mercury, they immediately turn the ball over when they get it in bounds, and ball goes to Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston makes a layup. The game is kind of closing in. Phoenix can't do nothing again on their end. Indiana gets the ball again. Aaliyah Boston gets a great pass by Caitlin Clark. Score 54-55, and then Kelsey Mitchell was like, yep, I'm back, y'all. You ain't got to worry about me. 2 back-to-back 3-point shots by Kelsey Mitchell. And after that, it was kind of like, whoo, they got the momentum. We heard the crowd going crazy. And I have to tell you, man, if I was a Phoenix diehard fan, I would have probably been annoyed at that point, because I was like, the Indiana Fever had all the momentum at that point. It was like they were able to get quality stops for the Phoenix Mercury, and then when Indiana got the ball, they were able to convert. In the first half, it was a lot of players doing a thing. In the second half, y'all, Kelsey Mitchell was like, yeah, I'm here, y'all. I am absolutely, positively here. She scored nothing in that first half. She scored nothing in that first half, and in the second, yeah, it was about Kelsey Mitchell doing her thing, and they keep the momentum to the end of that third quarter. Going to the fourth quarter, again, they keep that momentum, though the Phoenix Mercury do get back in the game. And they get a brief lead for a hot second. And once again, the Indiana Fever start clawing their way back. Katie Lou Samuelson makes a 3-point bucket. Aaliyah Boston makes a 3-point bucket. Both of those on Caitlin Clark passes, might I add. And, the Fever had the momentum. And it was close to the end of the game. Couple seconds left to go. We saw the Phoenix Mercury. They were down 3 points. 3 points. 85 Indiana, 82 Phoenix, and the Mercury call a timeout. And we actually hear the play. We hear the play that Nate Tibbetts is drawing up for the Mercury. All right. Tosh takes the ball out, gets it to Brittany Griner. They were supposed to do a handoff, and then they were supposed to have like 2 or 3 options to go from there. Either Brittany Griner's cut into the basket for a quick layup, or they're looking for a 3. But they had time. It was 19.2 seconds left in the clock. All right, 19.2 seconds. Nate Tibbetts calls a timeout, draws up a play. All right, break. Let's get ready for the play. All right, ball goes to Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner turns, not for the handoff. I think she was confused about what was what exactly the play was. She turns. Tosh was trying to get the handoff. Ball ends up. They both collide into each other. Brittany Griner and Natasha Cloud. They both collide. The ball gets hit off of Natasha Cloud's foot, it seems, and ball ends up popping up, going to, I believe it was Erica Wheeler, and then the game was over from there. And it was just like, man, like it was a wasted opportunity. All that time drawing up a play, and nope, nothing. All right, and that was the ball game. They ended up being fouls, made free throws, and then the game was over. All right, yeah, she was Michaela, but that wasn't in the play for her to dribble. It was supposed to be for her just to do a handoff. And Tosh was getting close to her because Tosh was trying to get the handoff without anybody stealing it. And then boom, it happens, and it's over from there. But guys, there is one aspect about this game that I have not talked about, and I want to talk about. It was the sheer amount of times that the referees went to the scores table to review a play. I believe it was 4 times that this happened. Where Brittany Griner looked like she was trying to go after Aaliyah Boston. Why? I don't know. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. I don't believe that was called a flagrant. I don't believe it was. We saw two technicals on both teams that offset. I believe that was in the first half when there was a little bit of a scuffle. Both teams were going into their huddles, and maybe there was word said or something like that. Get a little scuffle here and there. There was technicals that offset on that one. There was another time where I believe it was Nelissa Smith who I'm trying to remember exactly what she did to get that foul. Oh, she elbowed Nelissa Smith elbowed Diana Taurasi. She elbowed Diana Taurasi in, I can't exactly remember if that was the first half or the second half, but Diana was rolling off. Nelissa does that. She does get a flagrant 1 for that one, and there was another call in the game as well. I can't exactly remember what that was. I think Natasha Cloud got a flagrant 1 as well. So that was that was definitely something. There seemed to be a lot of annoyance on Brittany Griner's part for against Aaliyah Boston. Like, Aaliyah Boston was just doing her normal work, and we saw Brittany Griner was upset because, y'all, the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize about Aaliyah Boston is a solid player. She really is. She's a extremely solid player that you're not gonna really move her like that. And she's gonna stand her ground, and she's gonna be like, "Hey, I didn't do nothing. I'm just playing basketball." So that's all I got to say. But anyway, guys, that's kind of my recap of this game. Ultimately, I thought it was a fun one. Again, it was sort of the passing of the torch between the Indiana Fever and their sort of newer talent, and the Phoenix Mercury and their sort of older talent. I thought it was a fun game, but ultimately, when it came down to it, Chrissy sides, and her game plan of getting in transition fast. Like that's how you're going to win this game. You're going to win this game off of scoring the ball really quickly. In terms of fast break points, the Indiana Fever had 20 fast break points in this game. That was the key. Get in transition run the ball and score. And that's exactly what the Indiana Fever did. Because when you look at this Phoenix Mercury team, they are a good squad. They really are a good squad. But they rely a lot on Kalia Copper getting it done for them. She really is the player who sort of like gets them going. And she was struggling. And when you run this Phoenix Mercury team, they can't really keep up like that. They can't. And it was pace, 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 pace. That's how you gonna win this game. And that's exactly what they did. So in my opinion, my question to you all is the people who were all, trying to get Christy Sides fired. What do you think now? Because I thought she had a good game plan. I thought she had a really good game plan in this game. Transition, screen and roll action, and then it seemed like she made a very, very particular point in that third quarter to get Kelsey Mitchell going. It felt like it was a real point to get Kelsey Mitchell going and have her sort of be able to carry the team the rest of the way. And to me, I thought it was pretty awesome. Like I thought it was a really good game plan. So yeah. Donna says the Fever only won because Copper had an off game. I mean, yeah, Kalia Copper did have a really off game. She really did. But just because Kalia Copper has an off game does not mean the Fever exactly take advantage of it. So to me, again, I am not on that train of her being fired, but I know a lot of people are, including some of y'all who are watching. So I'm just saying. Will, thank you so much for the super chat, says, anyone going to Dallas versus Atlanta Friday? I am. That's awesome, Will. I hope you have an awesome time at that game. Guys, if you're going to that game, let Will know. Let Will know in the chat if you all plan on going to the Dallas versus Atlanta game on Friday. All right. Okay. I mean, goodness rated, Caitlin didn't feel well. So I'm just, I think that's kind of why. She showed Dave, Caitlin really did where, like, yes, that was definitely a thing. Yes. We saw it early in the game where Kalia Copper was chasing Caitlin everywhere, and was trying her best to keep up. And maybe all of that effort on defense, maybe it did affect the offense. We'll see. Who knows?